I'm India Brown,
And I'm Sidney Wilson.
and we are two Southern gals making it in the big city world where we both work on a Broadway show
And this is our podcast, Social Cues, a show where we put away our show scripts and stage blocking.
and have real conversations about how it feels being professional performers in a lucrative industry.
One topic at a time.
Okay.
Okay, this is our first ever episode.
This is our first episode. And we wanted to welcome you into all the many conversations that we have. We are both in a Broadway show together, and we have so many conversations that are amazing and well-rounded in the dressing room. So we figured we'd come and share those conversations with you.
How was your day? What's going on?
Hey, you know what? My day has been going so far. My daughter, who's 2, we had swimming this morning, so we went to swim class, hence why I have on my head wrap.
Okay.
Shout out to the beautiful head dresses that make us look stylish. They work. So yeah, I came from swimming, and where you doing it?
Yeah, this has been in the works. It's been something I've been really excited to do since you asked me, and
Yeah.
I've been telling everybody. And
Yeah.
I told my mom last night, and I was talking to her on the phone, and she was like, when can I watch? And I was like, we this is just the first episode. We haven't even thought about post. We haven't edited nothing. We're just seeing how it goes. So
We have our first subscriber. I love it.
yeah, so she's gonna be number 1. But yeah,
How was your day?
it's good. We went to PT, just
I like
to
it.
get
Yeah,
my
girl.
yo.
Boy.
Got me a few little braids. So yeah, just experiencing summer in the city and
For the first time.
yeah.
Yeah. Because how long have you been in the city?
Well, I've been in the city technically. Last year was my first full summer, so I did have that, but only about 2. It's coming up on 2 years. which
Come
is crazy. I know.
on! 2 years, honey, veteran.
Joining the show September 2021
Yeah.
into now, so I'm going into my second. Last summer, I don't know if this summer is gonna top, because last summer for me was 10 out of 10. I feel
Okay.
like I balanced well, the show, but also lived I was living. I first started dating, in the relationship, so that was a lot. It was perfect timing too, because I like to explore and I want to, but I feel like I get nervous too by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So having a partner to be able to go and see things, it's fun doing it with
I
other
love
people.
it.
So yeah, he
Yes.
really helped me kind of come out and be able to get more comfortable doing stuff in the city.
Lovely. Yeah, it's amazing you can share with someone. So much the city has to offer.
Yeah.
Come on, New Yorker.
I know. I'm certified.
Come on. Girl, how long have I been in the city?
I know.
It's been a minute. We're going to get into it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I've been here since 2004.
Wow.
Oh my God, look it
That's
up. Let's not even count it.
crazy.
I'm a New Yorker, honey.
Yeah.
With the Southern
You're
accent.
really
All right, so let's get into it.
Yeah.
What's the topic of the day?
Topic for today is intros and talking about our upbringing and backgrounds, because one of the ways we share a lot of values and stuff, but I feel one of the major ways that we are connected and are similar is the upbringing in the South. I'm from Virginia Beach, originally Virginia, and
I'm from Athens, Georgia.
right. So I think Georgia is a little bit more. I mean, Virginia has country, but I think Athens was very much for you, more small town.
Yes.
And yeah, so
The dirty South, as
Yeah.
they call it. So yeah, we call Virginia the South of the North. So,
right,
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got a little bit of both.
yeah,
Yeah, okay, so let's get into it.
yeah.
So yeah, I came to New York City straight out of high school in 2004. I went to college at Fordham University, and I went to the Aiden School. They have a joint program, so I got my Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in dance from the Aiden School through Fordham University, and it was scary.
Yeah.
To say the least. So, I don't know if your family's like mine, but my family, they watch the news a lot. And the news is it's not nice. If you watch the news day in and day out, the world looks terrifying. So I was definitely groomed to feel afraid of, the world outside of our little bubble, I guess, if you will. So yeah, it was a terrifying idea to live in a city, but it was still thrilling, which laces in a little bit of excitement because I was chasing my dream. I wanted to be a dancer since I was in grade school. I started dancing when I was 3 years old. I took it seriously when I got to about 8th grade in middle school into high school. And so that's when I was really like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm going to make some money. I'm going to do what I love. It's going to be great. And that's when I started romanticizing the Albanese Dance Company, in which that was the school that I ended up going to. So that was just an amazing idea right off the bat. So yeah, I came up here and I cried about 3 years in, girl, all through most of college. I felt myself not quite fitting in. It was a huge melting pot.
Yeah.
Because I come from a place where it's just Black people, white people, and maybe some Mexican people, Hispanic people. And not much else.
Yeah.
There wasn't too much integration of like Black and white, so you see mixed people. Some people, obviously, but not a whole melting pot of people. So it was a little starking, even socially speaking. I would have a few friends who were biracial, and we all would go out. It would be cool. So, I mean, just to go back to my backstory, I come from a small town, and my mom knew just about everybody. We call her the low-key mayor.
Oh my gosh. I'm the mayor of Athens.
Okay, come on, the mayor of Athens.
Wow.
And I was very popular. I was just, I was in things at school, and I did my dancing outside of school. I did talent shows and pageants and all that stuff. So I was pretty well known. Come to New York, child. Don't nobody know you.
No.
And, I thought that I was that girl, let's be honest. I thought I was good looking, and I got the affirmations from other people. So, I knew I was cute, but coming up here, honey, you only a dot in the field.
Right. Right.
So that was actually a shocking experience to go out with my friends who don't necessarily look like me, but they are Black. I wasn't getting no play, child. I was. Yeah, I would be in the back trying to get the drinks, and I'll be the designated walker because we were driving, but get everyone home safely. But they would get the numbers, and I wouldn't. And so, if I'm being honest, there was a moment where I got super insecure, I didn't think I was good looking.
So was that a more diverse group of friends, or were they mainly Black? Were they all Black, or?
Yeah, so it was a diverse group of friends. There were a couple of people who were maybe Asian or white, but my close-knit group of friends were Black because, they had Black in them, but they were still biracial. So they had the long hair, curly hair, just, the ambiguous, beautiful look to them.
Right.
That, frankly, I just wasn't used to seeing. And, we're in a big, huge city. So I guess the norm was that. So they were much more embraced, I guess, from my perspective than I was. So that really put me in an insecure space, if I'm being honest. I was like, am I ugly? Or, because I am a dark-skinned girl. And there is that whole thing with colorism within even our own race. I had to grapple with that for a little bit. But here nor there, I graduated 2008. I moved right from there. I got a dance company offer. So I was working with a concert dance company. And I actually was touring. I toured a little bit nationally, but a whole lot internationally, specifically throughout Europe. So I didn't really get a chance to find an apartment or have that roommate experience with all my other fellow graduates who just, they kind of moved in together, or they moved, to apartments uptown. I came right over to Brooklyn because my great aunt and uncle were living in Bushwick at the time. They had a house, and my mom asked if I could stay with them temporarily because I was going to be on tour and have time to find a place to stay.
Right.
So I moved to Brooklyn, away from everyone else. Went on tour. That was amazing, and it just was all shocking because I still wasn't quite used to being in the city, even though I spent 4 years. But you got to think you're within the confine of an institution, so you're kind of still protected to some degree. We were actually Fordham University Lincoln Center campus, which is right on 60th Street on the west side of Manhattan. There is another campus up in the Bronx. It's called Rose Hill campus. Right. But that's the one. The Rose Hill campus was more of the college-esque type of appeal. It had the gated community, the football field, the baseball field, the huge different places where everyone stays for residential living and where you're taking classes all in like one community.
Right.
Well, we had one building where I was, and it was considered mainly a commuter school because most of the kids who went to the campus that I was at lived here in the New York City metro area. So they would go home during the week and the weekends, and it would kind of be a little, it's stranded. Not stranded, but desolate. So, yeah, I never quite got used to New York City because I think a part of me didn't quite embrace it yet because I had this high expectation of being in a college atmosphere,
Right.
the gated community, the football games, the fun college things. And it felt like I was already like an adult going to work and not really having that escape.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm being a little dramatic. We had our moments.
No, I don't think that's dramatic. I think I heard and knew about that similar like experience, which is why I chose the school that I went to, because the two big schools, or my two main choices in the two programs I got accepted to, were Elon, where I went, and then NYU Tisch. And when I came here, I remember my program director at Governor's School of the Arts saying, if you go to New York, it's just big, and you're going to be in the city. And a lot of people, if you really know that you want to have maybe that's the wrong choice of words, but if you know that you are the type of person who needs to really sit down and concentrate on your training, then New York might not be for you, because on top of the culture shock and already everything you'll experience, it's not a campus where you're in the dorms, like you're out there, like you are on the street, like you're not really experiencing the same campus feel. Right. So it's not, I don't think it's dramatic at all. It feels like you're straight up in it. And there was also them bringing up the fact that it might be challenging to be there and not want to go to auditions and not want to, skip class or miss this opportunity or that at school because there's an equity audition or there's a Broadway show who's having an open call right down the street, and you'd rather go and try your chances there than be in class learning what the stuff you can be trying to be on the stage doing. So
that happened a lot. Like a lot of my classmates would go on these auditions and actually book gigs. And so, you are in it, you're working at that point. So school doesn't seem so important or a priority at that point. So it felt like we were just living in an apartment and going to work.
Right. And how old? And you're right out of high school. So that's like 19.
Yeah. Not ready at all.
Yeah.
And Southern, mind you.
Yep.
Southern and sheltered. So,
right.
Yeah, it was a lot. But obviously today, fast forward, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for it. I went to two amazing institutions. I feel like I was heavily surrounded with great resources and great opportunities to network. I mean, we had some really great professors. We had some great guest speakers and all types of programming. Was amazing. Like I walked out feeling ready to conquer my field of dance. Yeah. Conversation for another day. Did I need my degree in dance to thrive? I don't think so.
We'll touch on that next week.
Next time. But I'm grateful. I'm very grateful for the opportunity. And then, I moved out, came straight to Brooklyn, didn't really morph or migrate with my friends at that time and fellow graduates. So I kind of felt, again, a little on my own. I was working and I wasn't always in town. So I just felt disconnected socially because I didn't know anyone else outside of my classmates. And they were off in Harlem and I'm way over in Brooklyn. And at the time, and probably even still today, it's like, oh, you live in Brooklyn?
Right.
So it was interesting. It was an interesting ride. Did that. I booked the Brooklyn Nets dance team a few years later. That was really exhilarating and fun. That's when I kind of felt like I got some sort of popularity because I was on posters and people were following me and like social media.
Right.
Not in person.
Right.
I had a little fan base. So that's when I really started to come into, I guess, my womanhood.
Right.
Because we had all of these rules where you couldn't go to the stadium if you weren't flawless, basically.
Wow.
You had to have your makeup done, your hair done, you had to have on a nice outfit, going to the stadium and leaving the stadium. So you always basically have to be aware of your outer appearance at all times. At the time when you're in the moment, you're like, oh girl. And I wouldn't say I'm a tomboy, but I'm just not the dress up all the time. Gotta be completely flawless every time I walk out. Right. I have to beat the face to the gods to go out. So that was an experience, a learning curve for me where, I had to take better care of my outer appearance. And again, in the moment, it's like, oh my God, girl, I don't feel like doing all that. Just do this. But now I am grateful because, it taught me how to be a lady, and it taught me how to just, put my best foot forward and to, present myself in the best light. So I was grateful for that. Fast forward a little bit more, actually just 1 year, because I was only with the Brooklyn for 1 year. I booked Lion King on Broadway. So I met you. And I've been with Broadway ever since. It'll be 10 years in October.
Wow.
Fun fact, actually, I debuted on my birthday, October 8th. What? Yeah, in 2013. So
that is so
about
special.
to be 10, girl.
That is crazy. A decade. And in that time, you've gotten married, right? And had a kid.
Yes, I met my husband, funny, shortly after I got the Lion King. So I think a month after I booked the Lion King in November, I met my husband, and it's so funny because my friends and I always had this long laundry list of things we would not do and things we would not accept from a brother. And a few of the things were I wouldn't meet my mate in a club or a lounge, and they couldn't come with any baggage of any kind. Just all the things.
Unrealistic.
Girl, right. It was a long list. So right. Please. But so the moral of that story is don't follow the list, because I met my man at the lounge up the street from the theater a month after booking the show. And then, I won't say he came with baggage, but he came with the life that I had to conform to. Yeah. And and then we had a baby. We got married in 2019 and had a baby in 2020 during the pandemic, which that's another story for another day. So and that's where we are. Yeah, that's my life so far. Wow. Here we are.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So tell me about you, your background.
Oh, wow. Kind of similar starting. I feel like I was just writing a letter to management because I'm looking for management possibly to get some more opportunities to open up. And I was like, I started performing like a lot of people from the South singing in church. And that, I feel like that's everybody's story. At least just to kind of, any introduction is like children's choir. So I feel like that's kind of where it started. And then, of course, once the anointing and the gifting started showing up, then we expanded. But I was in dance at 3 to ballet, tap, normal things. And then kind of transitioned to theater when I knew that I liked to sing and act as well. But I did everything at church. I did praise dance, I did the children's choir, I did all that type of stuff. So that's really where the meat of it was. And eventually moved to that, and I did like some community theater things, and eventually I moved from Virginia Beach to Chesapeake. And so I moved school districts as well. And that was a shift because Virginia Beach is a lot more diverse than where I moved in Chesapeake, which was the high school I went to was Hickory High School. And Hickory High. It's as country as it sounds. And it's very predominantly white. Okay. And so that was kind of interesting because talking to other people my age, like when I went to college, everybody was from all different places. So, St. Louis and Hawaii.
That's a good point. I think the same too. A lot of people when I went to school at Fordham were from big cities. Right. It was very diverse. Or I was the only one. It was like,
from a small town. Right. Yeah. Or they came from like boarding schools or had gone to performing arts, like big LaGuardia or these big schools in LA. And that wasn't my case. I got my arts fix from actually when I was in high school. I had applied to go to the Governor's School for the Arts, which is basically like a performing arts academy. Okay. I had applied an audition to go there going into high school, so basically 8th grade to go in starting in high school, and I got denied. And I was like,
Dang.
So it was fun. I still did my classes with community theater and all that, and I re-auditioned my sophomore year and I got in, so I was able to do my last 2 years. So I did governor school, and that was the only thing, because I was in drama at my high school, but as you elevate, you want to, move up and have more intense training and more time training. So that program, how that worked was that I went to school just for like about 2 classes worth, and then half the day, in the middle of the day, I took lunch and then I left, and I would drive or take the bus with my friends, go to Norfolk where the studio is, and take my classes.
How far is that?
It was like a 30-minute.
Okay.
We just got on the highway, went straight down to the main area, get off and get right to classes.
Yeah.
You put your taps on, you put your ballet stuff on, you get your voice lessons.
Straight out the car.
Right. It's like get your clothes on, you're going to town. So it was really good. It was really fun, because I think, public school, the arts aren't really
they're not really
hyped up. They're not. They don't have the funds.
The funding's not there.
Right. Which is not their fault, but that's another situation. So anyways, Governor School for the Arts, had a lot of experiences. That's where I took my first trip that year, my junior year, they did a New York trip. So we came to New York. I came for I didn't come for the first time, but with the intention to experience theater district. And so I saw 3 shows. I saw An American in Paris, we saw Something Rotten, and then we saw Shuffle Along with Adrienne Warren, who was in Tina, who now, or at that time was in Shuffle Along, which was new. So it was really cool to see alum, and it was just all happening. So then we fast forward, and I'm at my senior year, and we're talking about colleges, and I narrow it down to Elon, and so I end up going. That was really great, but Elon is also a PWI, predominantly white. So
I
that
can
was
relate.
So that was another situation to kind of deal with. But I could say that North Carolina is similar to Virginia in pace.
Okay.
So I was in college town, and it was still very much kind of like Virginia, or kind of like Chesapeake, where I had lived at that time. So it was very chill, it wasn't too much going on. It was a couple, like a little bit of racial tension and things like that, but pretty safe, secure. And it was what you were talking about, football stadium. We were going to games. You could walk to classes and stuff. And it was the building over. You were in your dorm with all your friends. It was a bubble. And so I feel like that transition to college wasn't difficult like some of my other friends, because coming from big cities, they had culture shock of coming to something
and slowing down.
Little in diversity, that was very different for them. So I kind of had the upper hand with that. And I was like, oh, this is just country living. Like, this is what I'm used to.
I do.
And I was loving that experience. And so I think I definitely thrived. Went through the pandemic my junior year of college, which was unfortunate. But I was able to participate in a program that allowed me to connect with some agents, and I found my agents my senior year and just trained and did what I needed to do. And I have a pretty miraculous blessing of a testimony of getting the Lion King. I had graduated, and then I auditioned. I moved back to Virginia. I auditioned and did self-tapes mostly for about 3 months, and Broadway was still closed. Nobody had reopened. And I got a tape for the tour, the Lion King National Tour / Broadway replacements. And I was like, okay, it's going to be the tour. So exciting. Oh my gosh. And I ended up auditioning. It was the quickest process. I didn't think, people make it seem like every job takes so long. That was one of the quickest processes I've ever had. I sent in the tape. I filmed it. I was here visiting because I didn't even live here yet. I was still in Virginia, but for big auditions, I would come in the city and I would like dish out the money to fly. And so I was staying with a friend. They didn't have the space, so I actually went to another friend's apartment up in Harlem, filmed the tape, like sent it in. They sent me some notes and were like, okay, we want you in person, but apply these notes. I went in, did that, and then like 2 days later, my agent called me and was like, hey, congratulations, you got. And I was like already crying there, like the Broadway, and I almost fainted out there. I was walking.
So you were just got the national tour.
Yes, and I had just moved, and I was actually on the way to get dinner with my roommate for the sublet that I had just bought. Like I had gone through the 3 months, and I was like talking to my mom, and she was like, just go and see, because you're getting more in person, and things are about to open up, so you should go and just start auditioning and see what happens. Yep. And I had moved there literally the weekend of the end of August, and I got the call. I think August 31st, and I came to the theater September 2nd, and I got COVID tested. They set me up. So what followed after that was not just the culture shock of the city, but of Times Square and New York, like the middle of New York City.
We were in the hustle and bustle
smack in the middle.
City.
So that was the biggest
all.
thing for me. Yeah, I'm like, okay, New York, and I'm just trying to get used to Washington Heights and where I'm subletting and safety, and then public transportation and the subway. When I'm used to driving any and everywhere, we don't have buses really, or like trains, so that was a big shift. And then,
child, tell me about it.
I'm just like, this is ghetto. Like, what is this? Like, people crazy. I feel, and I don't know why I had some conception. I don't know. My family doesn't really watch the news like yours, like you say, but I still had some like misconception that like when I got off the train, somebody's gonna be waiting to like try to steal my bag. Like, I was so on edge, and I'm like, don't wear a book bag, right? Like, don't wear a book bag because they're gonna be digging in your bag. Like,
that's what I was so
right. So I'm like walking, like trying to make sure, but I have so much stuff. I got rehearsals. I'm like, I can't not bring a book bag. Like, what am I supposed to do? And I don't have any family here. I have a family friend, but not super close, so just trying to figure that out. And everybody's telling you reach out to this and that, but then you have such a crazy schedule that reaching out becomes difficult too. Right. And so I kind of found myself in a place of a lot of loneliness, because even though a lot of my friends and peers had moved to the city, they weren't on the schedule that I was on. Right. So I'm booked all night, and when we were actually able to hang out, they get off of their normal, what we would call like survival job of like waitressing or nannying or whatever, I'm going into work. So it's kind of that, and then stepping into also a show that's such a legacy and has such a strong sense of community, but that's already been established. So kind of coming into that, no pressure, right? It's like, okay, so let me honor the space, but also try to bring myself authentically, but also not overstep. And so it's a lot of stuff that goes on in your mind, and that is even unspoken with other people, and you're kind of trying to find your place and be respectful, but also kind of stand your ground. And also balance 8 shows a week that you've never ever done before. Like, I've only done one other serious professional contract before, and that was my sophomore year, like a summer stock production. What was it? It was Jelly's Last Jam with North Carolina Repertory Theater. It was really, really fun. I was a honey. Honey. So it was 3 honeys. It was so fun. One of the best theater experiences I've had. But that was just a weekend. I think we did like 6 shows. So I had never done a long running like summer stock 3 or 4 shows in a row. Never done anything. Try 8. Right. Every week, and then you only have the one day, and you're like, okay, so again tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. So it was a lot. And like I had mentioned before, I didn't really have the connections, I think, to be able to explore on the same schedule as me. So I felt like a lot of my time was spent alone or on the phone and things like that, which is fine to an extent, because I'm an introverted person. Me too. What you consider an extrovert. I love being around other people, and when I'm around other people, I come alive. Right. But I really need time to recharge. I don't even necessarily say I need the time, but I really appreciate it when I have it. So I'd rather have it. Yeah, than not. It's for me, it's much needed. Like, I will straight up, I don't want to say I got an attitude, but I very much can be like, okay, it's time to go. I need to leave. And even like with people I love, I'm like, okay. Like, my mom visited me, and she was like, you don't want nobody in here. You just want somebody in here sitting pretty with you. Like, you don't want me to speak, nothing. You want to have your time, but just have a body next to you. Sit on this shit. And I was like, just let me rest with you, because I can't. I spend all my energy all day. I feel like performing and being on and all of that. So I can relate. Wife or mother, all the things. You need the time to recharge and get back in.
I think sometimes, especially in theater and in the arts, people really romanticize New York because of Broadway and the bright lights, but it's not always glitz and glamour. And there's a lot of real things that you experience, I think, especially as a young single, like when you moved and when I moved here too, being a young single Black woman, it's just things to keep in mind and manage and try to be aware of.
Yeah, for sure. Like, even with our job specifically, being a Broadway performer, like, yes, it is amazing. It's a great opportunity. I still, to this day, 10 years later, love my job and the people that I work with. So they're, obviously fruits that come with the labor, but it's labor. I mean, to do 8 shows a week, you get 1 day off. It's only on a Monday. Everyone else has the 2 days of the weekend. And kind of, especially during the summers and the holidays, I always like to say, well, when y'all are off, we're on.
Right.
So that is really tough. And that does kind of give you a snap into reality to show like, whew, you work for that dime,
Yeah,
honey.
you
You
work,
for
and
that
you
money.
work for the recognition. And even though it looks so fun, I think because we had asked each other a couple of questions about this specifically, and one of yours for me was, what was one of the, I think, biggest things that were most exciting, or what was one of the things that people hyped up that didn't turn out to be all that it was? I think Times Square, definitely, because I think it's different working there and going there every single day and seeing that same stuff and the touristy, then as people are like, oh my gosh, Times Square, and it's just nice to live. You want to be close to Midtown. I'm like, no, I don't.
Nope.
I want to be far from
Never.
Midtown. I want to be away, a decent commute, but I need space from that because I want to feel like I'm actually at home, and not like at work.
I think the moment where I felt like a true New Yorker was walking in Times Square.
Oh my gosh.
You know, when you come as a tourist, you're like, oh wow, the big lights. You're always looking up. It's so exciting. Ooh, it's Elmo. He's so cute. You live here. It's like, girl, move. It's just a little raggedy Elmo.
No, I don't need a picture.
Don't look up. Look where you're going.
Literally.
I don't want a picture. You just need to get to exactly where you're going and go on home. So,
right.
Yes.
People being like, I wish that there was like an elevated like walkway just for performers, because
I would
trying to get
subscribe
to the subway,
that.
like, let me show my card. I'm in this show. I just got out. Let me have my straight
an
shot.
exclusive elevator that hovers over Times Square and get to your job.
Right.
Sign me up. Thanks.
Yeah. So
yeah. Okay, well, that was a good segue. So into the questions.
Yeah.
So you answered my first question. Definitely, Times Square is something that everyone hyped up. It's not okay. You know, I don't want to kill the spirit of tourists.
Right.
It's cool to come and visit and amazing, fun. But as a person who lives here and works here, it's tough.
It gets old. I think it just gets old quick.
Yeah.
So.
Especially during New Year's Eve. Actually, New Year's kind of works for us because it gets so congested with people. We actually can't get this it's so packed. We can't actually get to the theater. So they, in the past, have taken the day off. The New Year's Eve show and New Year's Day shows off because they know it's going to be congested with so many people. Right. So that's a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. And also when it comes to safety, it seems that, you know, a lot of, if there's any action that's happening, whether that is like a bomb or something, or a bomb threat rather, or there was a year where there weren't pillars up on the sidewalk. So one guy took a car and just rammed the car down the sidewalk. So anytime there are moments like that where it becomes national news, that's terrifying for yourself personally, and then obviously for your family back home, because well, you know, my family watching the news. Right. So they always know. Okay. They know. So to be in it, and you feel so vulnerable almost sometimes. So yeah, it can be a little scary, but yeah. So my second question for you was, what was it? Have you found a church home?
Oh, the church home. Yes, I haven't. But I think that's okay. I think that where I'm at right now spiritually is really, really working on just my relationship with God, because he's taken me through a lot, especially this past year.
How does that work with our schedule? Like, you know, we work all the time, especially like Sundays. Sometimes we have 2 shows. Yeah. Like, do you try to...
Well, I feel like that's a big reason that I don't have one, is because for a big chunk of the year, I can't go. Like when we have the Sundays, right now we're on the 3:00 p.m., which is great. That's great because I can go in the morning.
Church, brunch, and come on to work.
And then come to work.
Yeah.
But when we have the 1:00 and the call, I mean, I like to get there like hour-ish. And so if I have to be at the theater at 12, like 11:45, 12, I'm not going to be able to go to a service. But I think that, well, that's not true, but it is just, it's hard to balance. Like, especially Saturdays, we always have that late 8:00, which gets me home like 11:30, 12-ish.
Midnight.
So it's like, by the time I get back, shower, maybe watch something or eat, try to decompress,
like 2,
go to sleep.
In the morning.
Right. And then waking up at 7 or 8 for a service, even if it is an early service at 9 or something.
It's taxing.
It's difficult. So I think, I think that was one of the things I thought I would never do, or I didn't really understand shows. So I thought that? like I would always be like, well, in my contract, I need Sundays off, or I need Sunday mornings off.
You better write it in your contract.
I was going to, but
how's that going?
Right. No, now this show is not allowing that, but that's okay. Cause the Lord, you know, opened up the opportunity. And so I think that he knows and understands, and in being close to him, I think my spirit is at peace with that. But I am able to visit churches, but I like not having a home here. I think in some ways because I explore so much. Like I was going
so
to
you've been visiting different
churches.
Okay,
yeah.
throughout Harlem?
Mostly in Harlem.
Okay,
yeah. So I
yeah.
was going to All Nations, which actually used to be right next to the theater.
Oh,
but they
word.
moved to Riverside Drive. So I go there. But then Easter, there was a little mix up with their services. So I ended up going to
I think you were telling me about that Easter
Generation
service.
or Next Gen, or I have to look it up. And
Okay.
but it was another service that was just really great. And
Okay.
it was still in Harlem, not maybe like 20 minutes away from where we had been. And so we went over there and that was a great service. So I've kind of been doing that. I watch different churches online sometimes because sometimes
now that's the beautiful thing about the pandemic.
That has
like
saved
for
me.
us, you
or
get
even
the
being able to watch
online.
replays and during the week, like I don't just watch.
You still get filled up. Yeah, you don't feel like you missed out for sure. 100%.
So that's kind of how I tap in.
Yeah, you should check out FCBC, First Corinthian Baptist Church. I think I did send it to you. That was the church that I went to when I was in college. But it's in Harlem, and now that I'm in Brooklyn, it's kind of hard to get up there because it turns into maybe like. Well, what used to be on the train, I drive now, but it used to be like an hour and a half to get there. Now I would journey when I had the time, but at the time it's not on my side anymore. Socially,
right?
So I haven't gone anymore. But like I said, the greatest thing about the pandemic was services went online. So I could do my praise and worship and catch my word online in the car on the way here. They have a wonderful social media presence. So yeah, that was a good thing about it, but. And we can get into this on another day, but I do feel a little bit disconnected because with our schedule, I haven't been a frequent churchgoer. And I love my praise and worship. It fills me up. It resets me for the week. It makes me feel energized. And I have different outlets now that I'm not just deprived, but just something a little different about a good church word, you know, and in person, you know, to feel the energy around you. So yeah, I'm a little sad. I'm not in a church home right now, but you know, I drink some stuff in online.
Take some communion at home.
Yeah, but no, that's great. I love that you like migrate around, like shop around. Because I got the advice from actually quite a few people that went to my school. Went to First Corinthian Baptist Church, and they highly recommended it. So I didn't really have a moment where I did like church shopping around. Granted, it's a good church. So, you know, I landed it, but I would love to do that in Brooklyn. You know, there's actually 2 churches right here on the block where, you know, I live. So, I got to get around. But I guess the thing that I look for is a young-ish congregation and young professionals, you know, people who are like-minded, who work, you know, have young families. I guess I hesitate with the churches on my block because they seem a little seasoned. We'll say that. We'll say that seasoned.
Well, I think, it's interesting because sometimes I think there can be fault in anyone or anywhere.
Truth.
So I think as much as the younger communities and the churches that I visit are younger, but sometimes they lack in tradition in some ways that I wish they would show up for more, which is why I think shopping around has been so good because you kind of get a taste of a little bit of everything and then to see, you know, what resonates with you. And I can honestly say that everywhere I've been has really been led by the Lord because I've always been able to be fed for specific. So I think, I mean, I know that he's guided me to where he's had me go, and that's great. But I understand what you're saying about that because I'm normally like my church in Virginia is non-denominational. And it's like, so when I have gone to other more traditional churches, sometimes I'm like, but then some of the even younger churches that from mine are, I'm kind of like,
You should be in my mind right now. When you said traditional, I'm like, holy. You said non-traditional. But
right.
Like, the Lord.
That's what it's like. That is the shift. Like those are the ends of the spectrum that I've experienced. So I'm like, okay, I can take a little from everybody, but it's just so interesting. I think that's the most beautiful thing. But I think as much as some people love tradition and as much as some people love contemporary and more modern, there can be fault in anything.
True.
So I think it's good to kind of soak up a little bit of
All
everything.
get around. Yeah. I think if you speaking towards like in more traditional church, you may actually like Abyssinian Baptist Church, which is in Harlem as well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they lost their pastor, the renowned Pastor Butts. I think I want to say about a year ago now.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Don't get me telling tales up here, but yeah, they did. He was their pastor for a long time and a pillar in the community of Harlem. Even during like the civil rights movement, he was a pillar. So yeah, maybe try that one out too.
Yeah.
Anywho, child, I can go all off on a tangent talking about loud, but
church. Okay, what about my questions that I had offered to you?
Okay, so your questions that you asked me. What is one thing you wish someone had told you or taught you about NYC before you got here? There's a few things, but I guess one of the, I won't even claim it as the biggest, but one thing I guess that still resonates with me today because the accent's still thick, like I just came off the Southern boat. Although I've been here about well over 15 years. People with accents are an easy target, so to speak, for being taken advantage of in New York City.
Yeah.
So, be vigilant.
Yeah.
And don't wear your heart so loosely on your sleeve because, they hear that good Southern hospitality accent or even an accent that's not even from this country. You become a target for being manipulated or taken advantage of. And another thing that I've kind of gathered is they seem to think that Southern people are a little stupid.
Yeah. That's why I start and my parents will hear me or say, and be like, hey, that was kind of, I'm just sounding so firm or straightforward is so different for me for them to hear me sound like that. But I just come out the gate like that. And then when they soften, I'm like, okay, so now I can show you who I really am.
Yeah.
But when you come out the gate, hi, I was just, we don't have, okay, let me come to you like this then. Since
you're so right.
They just don't, that's
it's
definitely
the assertion.
Something.
When you assert yourself, like that comes with, I guess, intellectual type of, look.
Yeah.
Like you just seem like you're just that much more sure of yourself. You know everything versus, if you sound nice or you sound from out of town or, I don't know why they think you're slow. Like you ain't got a brain.
No,
but
right.
Yeah. So that is one thing. Like just don't wear your heart on your sleeve. And, you can be kind and nice, but, just don't allow people to take advantage of you because you will be an easy target just off the sound of your voice.
Right.
The second question. Do you have any fears or hesitations of raising a child in the city? Ooh, child. Oh, y'all, if you are watching the video, you see me comb my fake hair behind my ears. Girl, did I tell y'all my family watch a lot of news? So I've been groomed to be afraid of the world.
Yeah.
It's just innate.
Yeah.
The city is a wonderful place to raise a child just because it's so diverse. I think there's so many cultural differences and resources, and there's such a bigger eye on the world perspective. So it's enriching for a young mind to kind of absorb because they're young sponges.
Yeah.
I guess that's the same fear. Like New York City feels so wide open. I mean, I come from a place, I'm sure you too, you come from a place where you live in nice, beautiful communities where you know everybody, you speak to your neighbors, you can drop your child off at your neighbor's house in case of an emergency and it's no problem. You really know the people around you. And, they say it takes a village to raise your child. Well, my whole family is down in Georgia and it's just my husband and I, and his family is a couple of members of his family are here, but we don't have a huge pool of people in our community. So that's difficult to feel like you can't quite trust people. And I have trust issues anyway, it's deeply rooted and for another day, but there's that. I guess I fear for when she starts going to school, like, what does that look like? Because, the bus will roll up to our house or somewhere close to our house and they'll pick you up, they'll drop you off. although that's the same sort of thing here in some places, not really. Well, especially when you start getting to middle school and high school. Like my husband tells me all the time, they would take the train to Helter Skelter to go like 30, 40 minutes or whatever to go to school on their own with their friends. So just that open exposure to the world is scary for me. Like I was sheltered. I'm sure you were too, because we had our little bubbles and it was a beautiful, delightful place to stay. And you open yourself up and your family to what feels like the whole world because there's so many different people. I guess that's the scary part. I guess.
Yeah, kind of double-edged sword. Like, so diverse and open, which would be different than how you were raised, but also, and New York is not like to scare anybody. But
I
it's
know,
just
child. We got people paranoid.
Really bad. But I have friends who are moving, and I just think that this is so powerful to do and to really talk about, because a lot of people who like that I graduated with, close friends, are like, I'm subletting, but I'm scared. Like this country girl, I think I'm gonna go straight to Jersey. And I'm like, try the city first. Like I feel like some of these things are warnings just so you can be aware, which is the biggest thing that people kept telling me too. Like have what you need to make you feel safe, but just stay aware. Do not be in your head so much or so into this phone or this and that that you aren't aware of what's really going on around you.
And that's a good lesson for life. Like you should unplug and just be aware of your surroundings. You don't have to be paranoid. The advice I would give to your friends coming in is, come live in the city, because what you will find is it's convenient to get to, you know, the fun stuff, your job, like the happenings, auditions, everything is here. So you don't want to be in Jersey. You don't want to be, you know, Connecticut or whatever, although, you know, it's lovely out there. But if you're young and vibrant and actively working, you want to be in the city. And the great thing, which again can become a part of the double-edged sword, is there's always people around.
Which
always,
is a positive too.
You know, so there are always eyes on you. You know, I watch a lot of true crime, so I'm always, you know, looking around, thinking of all these wild scenarios. So I'm like, okay, well, the street light is on and I'm out here in the dark. So, okay, there's somebody over there. It's a woman. Great. So she sees me. I'm just going to say help, or I'm going to cuss real loud because people respond to people cussing. Like I have this
like safety bland.
Oh my gosh. What? Like,
but it makes you feel accomplished too. Like that's one of the biggest things. I feel like I have like a badge of honor or something. Like I lived here. I commute. Like I don't Uber to like a lot unless it's super late or something. I take the train. So I know, and I feel like I could conquer anything. Like if I go to another big city, another small, I don't really care. Like even coming here to your place, I had never been to like this area specifically of Brooklyn. Okay, it says a train and the bus. All right, let me go and figure it out.
You knew how to do it.
Google Maps, and I'll make my way and I'll find it. And it's like, you know, so you feel accomplished, even if you don't have to stay here your whole life, but you feel good knowing that you know that saying,
if you live in New York, you can live anywhere. It's 1,000% true. Even with traveling, like my husband and I, we travel a lot. I traveled a lot when I was touring with dance. You know, you find yourself in like big cities like Paris or like Madrid, and they have their subway systems. You don't have to speak the language. You know the color coding. You know, even if it's like numbers, like you know it. Looking at the maps, it doesn't matter if it looks all jumbled up. You know how to navigate it because you navigated it here. It's pretty much all the same all over the world. So. You can live here. You can live anywhere. Okay. Girl, it's game time.
Okay. Yes. Let's introduce our game. This is real cute.
All right. So this is going to be our fun time because I don't know if you've gotten the gist of our lives, but I am a dancer. And
I'm a singer.
Yes. And well, I'm kind of a singer.
She sings.
Too.
She does.
I'm a dancer who sings. She's a singer who dances.
Moves.
But we do this thing at the theater where we always like to play these little games where we would just hum out, or we be singing them out kind of. We do. But I'm gonna spare y'all on here. Sidney can sing, child, so I'm not even gonna play myself.
No,
I'm gonna hum out some things. She might sing it out, and we have to guess.
Right.
Guess the name of the artist.
Right. And after they are guessed either correctly or incorrectly, then we'll give the correct name of the artist, song, year it was produced or released or whatever.
Now we put it's a bowl of different genres of music, excuse me. in a bowl, and it's going to be kind of spontaneous. So bear with us.
I know, because I might need a minute to figure out what song. Some of the genres I put in there, I'm like, do I know any songs?
Okay.
But it's fine.
Girl, it better not be no country. Actually, I do know a couple of country songs.
No, country would be cute.
Yeah, that would
Okay.
be cute because we're Southern. So.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
So Sydney's going to dig in the bowl.
Okay.
And whatever she pulls out is going to apply to both of us. I'm
All
a little
right.
nervous.
Don't be. Ooh, okay. Disco.
Girl. Whew, we already off to a wrong start.
No,
Disco.
You know some disco.
Some, like 3 songs. Maybe not
Yeah.
even. Okay.
I have one.
You already?
Yeah, I was
Darn.
thinking. I had to write them, so I was thinking a little bit.
Okay.
I
all
did
right.
have. I kind of cheat. I mean, I had a head start a little bit.
All right, let me hear it.
Okay, just ready. Okay.
No, I'm not ready. Oh, baby with some hot stuff.
Yes!
Baby this evening.
That one is hot stuff.
Is it Donna Summer?
Donna Summer.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
what's the year? What's the year that it
I
came
don't
out?
know that year.
Okay.
We'll have to.
Let me look it up. Donna Summer, hot stuff.
Yeah.
Come on, Donna Summer. It's
Yeah.
so funny. Thank you, Google,
Probably
because
80s or 70s.
Hot Stuff released 1979. Disco,
Wow.
rock, dance,
Yep.
electronic. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Darn. As soon as okay, here goes.
Okay. Last chance tonight. Yes. Wait, who is that?
You don't know?
Oh,
Take a wild guess.
Not
10.
Diana Ross.
9.
No,
8,
it's
7.
not Donna Summer.
It is Donna Summer.
Like
That's
her,
how it's
I
gotta-
was gonna either do that or like upside down. Upside down.
Girl, but the way we all on her albums, like I couldn't think of
that's
nobody
the
else when
main
you said
disco that I
disco.
know. Yeah, no, that's it.
So we only know Donna Summer songs.
Okay.
Okay,
Queen.
so Donna Summer, Last Dance,
Last Dance.
came out. Released 1978.
Okay.
Last
She
Dance.
was in her bag.
She
were
was.
living.
She clearly living in our mind, residing in our minds,
Yeah.
honey.
100%.
Shout out to Donna Summer. Come on.
Love.
Yay!
It was so good. So tune in. Every week is going to be a different genre.
That's right. And if you have a suggestion, definitely pop it down on our YouTube or even anywhere we have our podcast. Pop a comment down and we will definitely take your suggestion. It'll make it much more fun.
Yes.
All right.
Participation.
Girl,
Final segment.
last one.
Yeah.
What are we calling it?
Tithes and offerings. Tithes and offerings. Hey.
So we are both Southern gals, as you've already gathered, and we have definitely been raised up in the church. I didn't go into it as much with my background history, but I was raised in the church too.
Mm.
I actually danced in the church.
Okay.
All the things. I never sung in the choir, although I should have.
Yeah.
These vocals, honey, they vocal in
Yes.
So yes, I think we thought it was going to be a little fun little homage,
Yeah.
let's call it, to our spiritual Christian background.
Yeah.
So tithes and offerings.
All right.
So I guess I'll go first. I listen to a lot of podcasts and I read a lot of books and stuff. I'm pretty sure you do too. Oh shoot, you know what? This one is the book. Poot. Okay. I wanted to have the book up here. I'm so scrambled, y'all. It's the first one. Bear with us. Sorry. I thought I was going to actually offer something from one of the podcasts that I used to listen to, but this is sitting on my spirit today. So this one is from a book. I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all are familiar with Alex L. or Alexandria L. or Alexandra. Ooh, I don't want to jack up her name. I refer to her as Alex L. I'm going to look at the book, put her book information down below. But this book is called How We Heal. And in the book, there are various interviews with different women about, discussing trauma that they've endured and how they've kind of coped with it and how they heal and, endure it or cope and get through things. So this particular interview was with Dr. Thelma Bryant. again, she just kind of extended, and forgive me, at the moment I can't think about her backstory, but get the book. I'll put the information below. But one passage kind of resonated with me, and one phrase that she said sat well with me, and it kind of coincides with kind of how I operate professionally. I'll get into it let me make the quote, and then I'll get into what I mean. She quoted again, Thelma Bryant. She says, "Stillness and solitude are necessary for restoration and healing." Now that sat with me because, I can relate instantly, because it's funny. I am one of those performers who I lean heavily into balance, work-life balance, especially now. I'm in my 30s. I have a family, and I'm just easygoing by nature, just because of where I'm from, and maybe because of my personality. So what I mean by that, when I get into the theater, what I see, what I observe are all of my dance colleagues. They go right to the stage, they stretch, they warm up, they, do all the things. And they're all upstairs. When I come in, I come downstairs, and she sees me.
Kiki.
I come downstairs, I kiki, I eat my dinner, I roll out, I stretch, I warm up when I need to. Especially with me being in this show, it's kind of one of those things where it's in my muscles at this point, it's muscle memory. So I don't necessarily need to prepare for it anymore. Do as I say, not as I do. Right. I ain't recommending for everyone to just roll up in their cold and just go straight to the stage. But I use the movement in the show to sort of, warm me up, so to speak. But I think the part of stillness is something that sat with me, because I was pretty proud of myself. Like I think I have a pretty good grasp of balance.
Yeah.
I rest when I need to rest. I take naps in between shows. I eat, I call my family, I get a little bit of the outside life. And then I also pour into like my colleagues, and I do what I need when I need to do it. I show up on the stage every night. I do the storytelling. All of that to say, I think the greatest thing that we all learned coming off the pandemic is how to be still. We didn't have a choice during the pandemic. We had to be still. And I think a lot of people are coming out of that space. We may have taken it for granted when we were in it, ready to get back to work, and it was scary, the unknown. But now that we're back in the hustle and bustle, I think people know how to be still a little bit more and to take their time and reclaim their time, because we live in a capitalist society. And what we have been groomed to believe is hard work, no play, basically.
Yeah.
So with this, a part of our healing, because we all have our traumas, we all have our things, and especially coming out of this pandemic, we walked away with so much more piled on. And even the political climate that we're in, we're just all in a space of discomfort and maybe some trauma. So obviously a lot of healing needs to be had, but I definitely think it is important. If your body will tell you what it needs. So you have to, and the Lord will tell you and show you exactly what you prayed for and asked for, but you have to be still to receive it, to hear it, to feel it. You have to pay attention to that and nurture that. You can't abandon the stillness, the rest part of life. So, yeah.
Amen.
Stillness and solitude are necessary for restoration and healing.
100%.
This is a passage out of the book, How We Heal by Alex L. Again, we'll put the information below. You throw a little picture of it. It's a little light blue book. You want to go by and get it.
It is cute. I've seen that on your station at the theater.
So what's your offering?
So my tithe and offering actually comes from something that I was speaking on last week. I don't do lives or post of videos and stuff a lot, but I was just doing I was doing my Bible study, and I just felt led to go on live and just share it. I thought about it a couple times before, but Holy Spirit, sometimes he got to nudge us a couple times and they're like, okay, fine, I'll do it. So I had just woken up. I hadn't even really brushed my teeth or really done anything. And I was just reading one scripture that a professor had shared with me, one that I knew, but I had never really dove into. And it was Romans 12, verse 2. I want to pull it up and just read it.
Okay.
Um,
Come on, Saint, testify.
Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. And I follow a couple different people. Like I said, I kind of church hop, and also online. People have online ministries and things like that. And one thing that I've learned is the importance of research in the Bible too, and reading definitions. And so when I was looking up the differences between conform and transform and renewing and all of that, really opens up the word for me and makes it much deeper, because it really breaks it down. And I think a lot of times people preach on that verse and talk a lot about, you know, conforming to the ways of the world and getting into stuff that you don't need to be into, or, you know, carnal things, like just being involved in things that aren't really righteous or holy or whatever.
Following the crowd.
Right. But I feel like what he had kind of revealed to me that day was conforming in your mind as well, about challenges and limits that we place not just on ourselves but on God. And so I had shared the testimony about Lion King too, and said, you know, in the same way that he honors things and opens up doors and blessings, a lot of times when I was in school, people tell you, when you really start being serious about pursuing an acting career and Broadway and things like that, oh, you know, it takes you 3 years to even get to be known by casting offices and directors. And it really, most people, 90% of the people who move leave within the first 3 years or 5 years. And so he took that 3 years and gave me 3 months of auditioning and gave me the ultimate goal. He turned to the stepping stone. Not to diminish, but what I had ultimate goal was Broadway. Oh, she wants to be famous. She wants to be on Broadway. That is the first long-term professional show that I participated in. So it's those opportunities, and that I think he showed me that, you know, you can take advice and you can appreciate what people give you, because a lot of times people are speaking from experience, and they, you know, you don't want to have unrealistic expectations, but also, what is that really? Like, your expectations can be as unrealistic as, you know, because God has no limits. And so when you really think about something, and if it's his will for you and you're in alignment, I didn't necessarily honor that or be like, well, they said 3 years, so let me just work to the bone. And no, if it comes up, I'm gonna take it. If he has it for me,
if you're in the audition, they give you, oh, it hasn't been 3 years yet, I'm gonna have to decline. I'm gonna
come back. Like, you know, and I think it's multifaceted, because then we get into, you know, are people ready? And we've had discussions too with people where, you know, some people have done that and turned down a contract because they knew that they, or thought that they might not be ready and things like that.
It wasn't right.
But it's, everybody has a different story. And if I knew that this was God, like it was just all aligned. And so it's not just me, it's prayers from other people and visions and dreams from other people. I saw Sidney and she's in liking, like, and I hadn't even told her I was auditioning. People from church, and it's all aligned. So I think when you know, and when you have a relationship with God and you're in close communication with him and in communion, then he will open doors truly that are beyond your imagination. And so I think that verse was so deep to me, and he really led me to share it, because
my mama used to always say, you know, the Lord gonna give you everything you ask for and more. Will you be ready for it? You know? So it really is so true. You can ask and ask, but what you gonna do when you receive? And out of order.
And you're like, oh. And also the other part just quickly was just about not conforming, but also how closely that is linked with being close to him. Because in not conforming, he'll give you these things, but then to maintain and to be able to know, like I said, this is a stepping stone now, but then that also leaves a lot of openness and uncertainty. Well, what's the next? And that almost can put more pressure, because now you've gotten to think, well, what's next? And it's like, oh, I don't really know. And sit in it, and then see what he opens, and continue to work hard and all of that, but still stay close, because that was the whole, that connection is the reason that he was able to bless you with that.
Amen. That's
that
it.
trust and that connection.
That's right. That is 100% right.
That's my offering.
Come on. Now we're going to ask for we're going to open up the church for tithes. If you love this podcast, donations, and you want to keep seeing it thrive, honey, you can offer any little thing. No donation is too big or too small. Okay, I low-key was joking, but it's going to come a time where we really going to need your support. Whether your viewership, your listening ship, or, you know, a little little change won't
Yeah.
hurt to help us,
Yeah.
keep the lights on.
Yeah. But right now we're just really happy to share and just to be able to
Amen.
speak and commune, and hopefully this touches and reaches somebody.
Right. This was fun.
This was so fun.
Thank you guys for having us, listening, watching, tuning in. I guess it's not too soon to ask if you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe so you can always stay up to date with our new episodes. Follow us on all of the platforms where you can find our podcasts.
Yeah.
And
we're working. It's early, but we're
working
Instagram. Things are coming to fruition. So
it's coming to light. Again, social cues. Thank you. I am India.
And I'm Sidney.
And remember, continue to make your stage cues, but remain social. All right, y'all. We'll see you next time.
Social Cues is hosted by India Brown and Sidney Wilson. Produced by Dale Brown and music by Isaiah Young.
Find us on social media at SocialQ 2023 on Instagram and Social Cues 2023 on TikTok.
Don't forget to subscribe to our page and follow us for notifications of new episodes.
Until next time.